Do we have enough? Hey, Art, is Grant Gould on Zoom yet?
Yeah, you're good to go.
And Grant Gould is on there?
Director
No,
Gould
he
was a
not.
maybe.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you. We have enough.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Direct, I will now call this meeting to order at 6:01. Will you do the roll call, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I will begin with Director Gould, although I do believe he is absent. Hearing none, I will move to Director Orzali.
Present.
Director Wood.
Here.
Sheets is also absent. Division 7 is vacant. Director Jones.
Here.
White.
Here.
Clark.
Present.
President Sailor's turning it back over to you.
Thank you very much. Now we will do the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next thing on the agenda is the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14 to be replayed on Sunday, July 31st at 9 a.m. and Tuesday, August 2nd at 9 a.m. on Channel 14, webcast at metro14live.saccounty.net. We now have the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
I do not have any speakers here in person. However, Art, if you could allow our virtual audience to unmute.
Yeah, one moment. We have about 40 attendees. Go through the list here.
Quite a few tonight. We'll give everyone a chance to unmute themselves if they so wish.
Hello, attendees. You now have the ability to unmute yourselves. If there's anything you'd like to present to the board at this time, please. Looks like we have no takers.
No speakers tonight? Okay,
No speakers.
moving along. The next item on the agenda is the consent items. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I so move.
Second. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Director Orzali,
Excuse me. Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda tonight is the presentation items. The first one, life-saving commendation, a civilian award, Chief Harms.
Have the Pascal family want to come up, and from the comm center, Catherine and the crew, I think, is here also. It wants to come up if you're available. So with it being a hybrid, watch your foot right there. Whew. I'm gonna have to talk this way, and the camera's gonna be over there facing at us this way. So let's do it this way, I guess. Thank you all for being here tonight. I have about 2 paragraphs here to read to kind of tell the story of the Pasquale family. On the morning of October 10th, 2021, the Pasquale family was looking forward to a camping trip. Around 8 a.m., Dawn Pasquale heard her husband Garrett loudly snoring. Dawn realized something may be wrong and tried to wake up her husband. When Garrett wouldn't wake up, she began to shout. Dawn and Garrett's children, Cameron and Ethan, who were 14 and 17 at the time, heard their mother and came to help. Cameron was a student in the firefighting program at Del Campo High School, while Ethan is a graduate of the Air Force ROTC program, both of which had taken CPR before at their school. While Dawn called 911, Ethan and Cameron began CPR on their father. They took turns performing compressions until Metro Fire units arrived. The medic crew transported Garrett, who was in critical condition and was admitted into ICU. When Garrett was admitted, his cardiologist did not believe Garrett would survive. Fortunately, the cardiologist found a plaque rupture in Garrett's heart, which was likely occurred the day before when the Pasquale family was loading up their RV ahead of their camping trip and continued to build overnight. A stent was applied and Garrett's vital signs and conditions improved quickly and dramatically. Garrett was released from the hospital less than 24 hours after the surgery and made a full and complete recovery at home. It is the opinion of Metro Fire and Garrett's cardiologist that Ethan and Cameron's swift action to perform CPR on the father is the only way Garrett made it to the hospital with a fighting chance. So tonight we have an accommodation for life-saving accommodation for Cameron in recognition of your heroic actions you performed on October 10th, 2021. Thank you for your extraordinary effort to protect and preserve human life of your father. Cameron, right? Second presentation for Ethan, also in recognition of your actions and performance on October 10th, 2022. Thank you for performing extraordinary efforts to protect and preserve human life. Congratulations. You guys like to say anything?
I just want to say how composed the whole family was under such a hard and difficult situation. Obviously very unexpected. The composure that we saw with the family was pretty impressive. And I'm just so glad that you made it. I'm so glad your sons were well trained and they performed well. Good job.
And from dispatch?
Great job on the phone. The protocols that we have help us help you, but your composure on the phone is what allows us to give those instructions. So good job getting CPR started immediately, calling 911 immediately.
Thank you for being with them.
This is an outstanding outcome. I had asked before about if they got to go on the camping trip, and they said there was a different one they got to go to. I'll turn it over to the board president. If you guys want to step over here for any comments.
I just want to say thank you very much for your outstanding effort that you put out to help save your father. And it sounds like you guys stayed composed. You followed your training that you guys had when you were in school. Just outstanding. Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you and congratulations. Nice job. Nice to meet you.
Don't go anywhere. Can we get a quick photo of everyone, just real quick?
Sure.
Maybe with this removed. Is that even more helpful?
Do you want the logo in the background? Yeah.
Sure. Or you can do it again.
One there, one more.
Yay.
Did you get a photo, Mom?
Everyone want to come up, hello?
You sure? Tell her to take one. This is your opportunity. Come
Come
on.
on. Yes,
Take a
ma'am.
picture. This is it.
Very good.
Yeah, come on.
Grandma's coming.
Yeah.
Here, we'll take it here. Take it.
Adam, you want to take that picture for him, please?
Thank you.
You have to have a minute to settle now. Okay, next on the agenda, we have an action item. Resolution number 2022-060, commending Director Kelly, Chief Harms, and Board Clerk Pania.
I would just like to start off, and I'd like to say congratulations to Director Kelly and thank him for his 18 years of service with the district, his commitment to service delivery, and truly his support of me as the fire chief during my time that was here. Clerk Pania has a resolution and a commendation Director Kelly to share.
All right, we felt it was necessary to read this into our record. So I will read before you the resolution that you will be taking action on. Resolution commending Matt Kelly. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District wish to acknowledge that Matt Kelly has served as a director of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District with distinction. And whereas Director Kelly began his service as an appointed board member on July 28, 2004, and was elected by the constituents of Division 7 in December 2004, and faithfully served the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District with sound judgment, responsibility, professionalism, and integrity throughout his tenure for 18 years. And whereas Director Kelly served the Board of Directors with the highest degree of leadership as board president in 2007, 2013, and 2021. And whereas Director Kelly further served the district with the highest degree of diligence and skill, including serving on the Finance and Audit Committee and as the delegate of the California Fire and Rescue Training Authority. And whereas Director Kelly has shown a deep appreciation for the excellence and distinguished quality of service delivered by the high-performing team that is Metro Fire. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District and its Board of Directors hereby commend Matt Kelly for devoting his sincere commitment, promulgating the district goals and objectives, and for providing an outstanding record of dedication to the fire service and the citizens which it serves, and wishes to thank him for a job well done. Be it further resolved that this foregoing resolution, number 2022-060, should be passed and adopted this evening by the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors.
I'll make that motion.
I'll be glad to second.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Absolutely. Director Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Yes, absolutely.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Absolutely, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is another action item. Board vacancy for Division 7. Board Clerk Pania.
All right, following that action item, we have our next action item that goes hand in hand. Tonight, we have a few decisions to make. I have put together a timeline for what government code we follow for the appointment process. This is not something we do very often. And so I wanted to give you a visual, but also talk about it, then give you a chance to ask questions and then take some action so we can move forward with an appointment. So beginning on July 15th, the effective date of the board vacancy, we're working from that. We had until July 30th to file notification with the Sacramento County Elections Office. That was done by electronic mail and confirmed that they've received it. So that has been completed. Tonight, we have the decision to make. The first decision is whether or not the pool of applicants is going to come specifically from Division 7, or if you're going to open up to a district-wide recruitment with consideration to applicants from Division 7. And the other item you need to take into consideration tonight is the date and time that the interview process will take place. There is a recommendation that we have a special meeting, which does fall on a regular board meeting night of Thursday, August 25th. Before we move on, I wanted to share a few other dates in the future that might affect your decision tonight. So one of the things that's required under this government code is to post the vacancy notice for 15 days in 3 obvious places. So we're going to do that here at headquarters and then all of the fire stations that fall within Division 7. That is going to begin on Monday. There's going to be a deadline for applicants to submit a letter of interest and a resume. And looking at the date of the proposed board meeting, it conveniently falls on Thursday, the 18th. That gives me time to gather all of the documentation and put it together the Monday prior to the board meeting. So it'll be on the regular day you receive your board meeting materials. So that deadline for submission is going to be August 18th at noon. And then if you agree that the special meeting should take place on August 25th, that will be the date that we interview candidates here in person. It is a very public process. I'll remind everyone that we do it right here in board chambers. It is an action item and it's on the regular agenda. So we will interview candidates, appoint the candidate, and administer the oath of office that evening. And then finally, the legal expiration of the 60-day requirement is on September 12th. So you'll see there's a little bit of room between the dates, but that is working as expeditiously as possible. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anyone have any questions for the clerk? Go ahead, Director Jones.
Thank you. Again, with the dates and procedure. Thank you, Madam Clerk. When will, how soon can the board receive the? Oh, I think it's
Oh,
switched.
sorry.
To receive the applications. It would be, the intent, of course, is that it's good to have time to look over it the first time we see them. We don't want it to be the 25th of August.
No, so let me look at a calendar real fast and I'll let you know what date. So you would receive your board meeting materials for the August 25th meeting on August 22nd. That would be Monday. Depending on how many applicants I receive on the 18th, being if that is the last day we allow for submission, I could get them to you earlier so you can have time over the weekend to digest that information.
It's really the pleasure of the consensus of the board. The more time, the better, from my perspective.
Absolutely.
Just quick question, should we, I think it would be most appropriate to seek from Division 7, but should there not be an interested party, would we then have the opportunity to open it up, or would it be, we decide tonight if we stay in District 7 or go district-wide.
In the past, what we have done is accept all applications with the understanding that Division 7 has the priority. And we phrased it that way.
That is correct.
Works for me.
Any other questions? Discussion?
Appreciate the timeline.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So we need to make a motion to accept
Board of Directors vacancy time.
yes, yes.
I'll make a motion that we accept and adopt staff's recommendation for the Board of Director vacancy timeline and move forward with the process.
And I shall second that.
Well, point of order, we need to make the motion as to whether we're going to accept only 7 or 7 and others. That's the question.
Okay,
So you want to amend your motion?
I will amend it to whether we want to accept Division 7
And others.
and others, but.
Preference to Division 7.
okay. So I'm understanding that the motion is that we will accept applications from the whole district, but with a preference for District 7. So I get a motion and a second on that.
I'll second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Director Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
And now the second item I'll need from you this evening is a motion deciding that the special board meeting will take place on Thursday, August 25th at 6:00 PM. That will be the date and time we interview the candidates and make the appointment and administer the oath.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Director Orzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Is there anything else on that? We're all done.
I don't have anything else. Thank
Okay.
you for your time this evening.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda tonight are reports. The first one being the president's report. I have nothing to report tonight. Moving on to the fire chief's report. Chief Arms.
Thank you. Good evening, directors. I have a number of items tonight. The first one is a recruitment. There's a firefighter paramedic recruitment that is open for interested letters for the firefighter academy, tentatively scheduled for 23-1. That is starting, would start on January 17th. There's a reassignment opportunity for an EMS day captain. That is open until August 1st also. I have 5 promotions that happened with the new budget year. Congratulations to Aaron Castleberry, who was promoted to the administrative analyst effective July 1st. Congratulations to Leslie Miller, who was promoted to human resource analyst. Congratulations to Candace Serles, who was promoted to workers' compensation coordinator on July 1st. And 2 promotions to master mechanic effective July 18th. Joshua Sniffer and Robert Petrucci were promoted to master mechanic. So congratulations to all 5 of them on their internal promotions. A reassignment, congratulations to Tim Beard, who was selected to fill the training division day captain position effective January or July 23rd. We also want to thank Captain Roger Aldrich for his service, and he is returning back out to the line. A couple of meetings. The first one is a meeting with operations to discuss the MIH program. We're at about a 6-month mark there and looking at what is the future of that program, some opportunities with the LIMSA and also funding for the future of that program. We held a final budget meeting internal with the budget officers for fiscal year 22-23, preparing the final budget for bringing back to the board here in just a few months. The last one is kind of something that is coming up, and there was some interest before on it, is on Monday, August 8th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Assembly member Freddie Rodriguez and the Emergency Management Committee will hold a hearing. That hearing will be an update from the state IMSIS task force on the ambulance offloading times, and that'll be in room 444. It appears right now they're going to ask the director, the acting director, to give an update on APOD. And finally tonight, having dedicated more than 40 years of my life to the fire service, my decision comes with a lot of mixed emotions, but tonight I'm announcing my retirement at the end of the year. Being involved in the fire service is just as exciting and rewarding today as it was when I started my career. Although there's always challenges, I found that there's always the good days and the successes that far outnumbered our bad days. And even the bad days had their own lessons that gave us opportunities for us to support one another. As rewarding as this work still remains to be, however, I believe it's time for myself and my family to transition into our next chapter. The district is well positioned to make the transition to its next fire chief. Operationally, the district and the members that we have who are phenomenal, consistently deliver exceptional service to our community and respond to over 300 calls a day for service and make service delivery our #1 priority. We have very strong leaders in our organization. We have a strong command staff and a strong professional staff that supports our mission of service delivery every single day, 24/7, 365. And I believe financially, we're in a strong position and a sustainable position as we move forward. There will always be lots of work to do, and although the efforts of everyone at Metro, through the efforts of everyone at Metro Fire, the strong support of all of you at the board and the partnership we have at Local 522, we are in a good position for our future. It's truly been an honor in my career to serve as the leader of this exceptional organization. I look forward to working together in the short few months coming up to ensure a smooth transition and continued success for Metro Fire. Thank you for this opportunity. That ends my report.
Thank you, Chief. So I would now like to open this up for comments from the board to the chief. Director Jones.
Chief Arms, I wish you the best for you and your family and all the future endeavors that it's the steps and activities and spending time and building and rebuilding all those familial relationships. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Director Wood.
2016 doesn't seem too far ago. When you think about when you first came on. I want to thank you for your candor. I want to thank you for the relationship we've had, always reaching out, always keeping us informed. And I do wish you all the best, you and your family, the challenges and the successes and the joys you'll have coming forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Director Rosali.
Chief, it has been a genuine personal and professional privilege to work with you. I admire what you've brought to Metro Fire. I admire your leadership and your willingness to listen and the opportunities that you've afforded board members to have input is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director White.
Chief Arms, I do want to thank you for your leadership that you've provided, over the years. You've helped position the district for continued success. And I think we recognize we're all custodians in our role. Somebody has it before us, somebody will have it after us, but you definitely positioned the district for continued success. And I really appreciate your service to not just Metro Fire, but to the community it serves. So thank you.
Thank you.
Director Clark.
Yes, Chief, thank you for your leadership. Godspeed in your retirement. Enjoy your family and you have more time to spend, genuine time at which you probably haven't been able to do over the years, consistently, doing this job or being in the force. It's been a pleasure. And once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Harms, I want to thank you for allowing me to learn how to become a director as my first term, and now being my first term as president. I have learned a lot. This is, for me, this has been like a promotion in the fire service. And with you being a strong leader, it has been truly wonderful for you to help me learn what this position is. And I want to thank you for that opportunity. I wish you all the best wishes forward on your path, and I wish the best for your family. I know that retirement is not an easy adaptation, especially for us that need to constantly be busy. So I wish you the best for you and your family on your next path. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next report will be, thank you, Adam Mitchell, operations report.
Thank you, President Sailors. Tough one to follow. Good evening, everybody. I didn't have anything written down, but I just will start off and say your 40 years of public service, Chief, has been amazing, and what you've done for the public previously and here as Metro Fire. Your leadership here has been unbelievable. I mean, just to see our organization and the change it's undergone in the last 5 years, amazingly impressive. So thank you for that. Although you still have 5 months left. So I will probably 4 or 5 months left to finish out. And we look forward to spending that time with you to get as much more out of your leadership as we can. So thank you. A few updates here for me, statistics, just some, I did a little different tonight. I pulled some year-to-date statistics. Our total calls for this year up till earlier this afternoon, we're at 60,831. Over the same time period as last year, we were at 58,862. So we're again seeing another increase in call volume by 3.3% year-to-date. Interestingly, year-to-date, our busiest hour of the day is between 2 and 3 p.m. and our least busy hour is between 4 and 5 a.m. Our busiest day of the week is Fridays, and our least busy days are Sundays, although it's a difference of not too many calls, as you can probably well imagine. But there's some interesting statistics that are a little different tonight. A few other updates as far as the safer positions deployment, as we talked about last meeting. The bulletin went out today to everybody from operations about what the plan is looking across the district for those 21 new positions, 7 per shift. We're still working towards that effective date of 8 a.m. on next Thursday, August 4th, to deploy all those positions. So that's a really, it's been an amazing process to be a part of. Still some things to finish up, but watching those units go into service at Squad 24, Medic 59, and the 4th members on those 3 engine companies at 41, 53, and 61. I'm really looking forward to getting that out there to increase that service delivery, but also to see what the impacts are on our system as we continue to move into the future and figure out what the next best, effective, efficient, safe way to do operations and service delivery is. So looking forward to that. And thank you again to everybody that has been involved. It's been a huge lift as a team across the district, from the line and professional staff and all the way across with our regional partners as well. So quick update on deployment status to the Oak incident in Madera Mariposa unit that started on July 22nd at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's currently at 19,000 acres, just over 19,000 and 36% contained. We have 3 different types of apparatus and overhead deployed right now. Our Type 3 OES engine as part of 4802 Charlie has been deployed since the 23rd. We have OES, our 2 Type 1 OES engines, a strike team leader and a strike team leader trainee on 4808 Alpha that are deployed since the 24th. And we have a line safety officer that's been deployed since the 23rd. All of those members are doing well. We did have 1 crew swap out for an illness that's been completed, but everybody's doing well and performing out there and at the level we would expect them to do as professionals. So really appreciate that. It does look like the incident is on a pathway of getting much better, knock on wood over here. And so we hope to see them home soon, safe. A couple of notable incidents, although we run, like Chief Harm said, 300 incidents a day, thousands of calls a month. A couple of things that have happened since the last board meeting that I found interesting, I thought I'd like to share tonight. We had a fire on Tuesday over in Battalion 7, the 26th, in an MRI machine, which doesn't happen that often. Our folks arrived and confirmed there was a fire in the MRI machine. And it was in a multi-tenant professional building, a medical office that does imaging. The staff and the patient that was in the machine at the time of the incident started had already evacuated, so that was good news. But I will say the biggest danger when it comes to that sort of an incident is the magnet that's in that, as we're well aware, if you've ever had an MRI or know anything about it, it's a superconductor. It's relatable to the magnets they have in like wrecking yards that pick up and move cars. So very, very powerful magnet. Fortunately, our members that responded early on, the battalion chief and the early arriving crews recognized that and worked with staff to determine the danger, but also how to mitigate that hazard. They located what's called a quenching switch. They hit the switch before entering the room to extinguish the fire. It releases cryogenic liquid into the magnet itself that turns the magnet into a piece of metal, pretty much. It's very expensive to do if it's not on fire, and so I'm glad that they did that to get in a position to put the fire out. There's also a release of helium gas when that occurs, and fortunately the venting system in the facility worked, and our members that were on the roof saw a big rush of a white cloud go out, so everything functioned well. They were able to put the fire out and limit the damage to the room of origin. So no injuries there, so that was good. The second incident occurred actually just after midnight last night. We got a phone call from our partners up in Placer County area. They had received a 911 emergency for a couple of juvenile victims that had been hit by a falling tree. It was a very critical incident. It was in a very remote area of Placer County, and due to our relationships, they called for our assistance, and we very quickly approved the mission. Our folks had gotten down to 115, recalled, launched the helicopter, and they performed a very, obviously a very highly trained skill to do a night vision goggle hoist operation. They did a very professional job there. Got to the victim, worked with the crews on the ground who we've trained with in the past, and were successfully able to hoist one of the two victims out of that area and medevac helicoptered over to the hospital and got them in critical condition to the hospital. We'll say the reports were that had we not been available to do that, that victim would not have made it to the morning for those folks trying to get them out. So again, I know we've had a number of incidents recently with our air operations folks doing some very, very high level professional work. That actually is our third transport this week. Another call had a drowning victim we transported with a very positive outcome, but I think it's important to highlight those high exposure potential media type of events, but it just reinforces what our folks are doing out there every day. They do a great job. We don't hear about them all the time. And it's amazing to me how we continue to step up and do what's right in the right situation, and we're available with your support to perform those types of rescues and amongst many other things throughout the district. So unless there's any questions, that's the end of my report tonight. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you for that great report tonight. Thank you. Next up is firefighters local 522 report. Matt Cole.
Thank you, President Sailors, members of the board. First off, to echo Chief Mitchell's report with the copter response last night. We experienced our staffing challenges. We all know that coming out of COVID, we're still trying to recover and figure out work-life balance and continue to recruit, retain people. Last night, every member on that helicopter left their family, came in to respond, to go out to save that individual's life outside of our county. So I'm really proud of all the members that continue to sacrifice. I know that sometimes we look at the roster and we're frustrated or disappointed that we might not have full staffing as we continue to navigate that. But it's not because our members don't care or they're not committed to serving, and that speaks to it. So our commitment to that program, our commitment to the community, and our commitment to each other in the fire service, with that helicopter being again deployed time and time again to be there on incidents, to be there for that type of protection, should continue to be noticed. And so I just want to start for that. So thank you very much, and thank you to the folks that came in last night. Since our last, well, let me back up. I'd also like to thank the board. A number of you spent some time down at the hall with us this week. Thank you very much. Some of you connected with membership out in the firehouse, and I know a handful of you went out to Fleet and spent time with our folks out at the shop. So thank you for spending time with our members too. when your time allows. We know how busy you are and how you balance your commitments. So thank you for being accessible to the members of Local 522. Since we last met, we had a unit meeting and we had over 80 members there. So 522 is definitely engaged and off the wall, and I'm happy to report that we are looking to get involved in so many things, and we see that manifesting itself in the work that's going into the Service Delivery Committee, the bulletin that went out today to expand some of our services and look at a squad deployment, adding a medic to 5-9, putting force on engine companies. Fortunately, we have federal funding to help us with that, but I think it's going to be a great jumping off point to see where we can additionally improve services and our protection of the community. And I'm super proud of the work and the collaboration that's going in. And all of our members, again, are doing that on their own time, volunteering countless hours to come together and make that happen. So I'd like to thank and recognize everybody again for that. We've had a negotiations meeting that was pretty productive. I think you'll get a report in closed session. And we still are really committed to coming to terms and getting under a long-term contract so that we can focus on the future of 522 and Metro Fire in a healthy dynamic. I'd like to wish Ryan Crowder well. He transitioned. He's leaving Metro Fire and going to CSD. He was one of our new hires, as well as Daniel Parker, who's going to North Tahoe. So it's sad when we see people go off to other organizations, but we wish them well, and hopefully our paths will cross again. I'm also happy to report that we don't have to wish Chief Law well in retirement. She pulled her paperwork, and we're happy that she's going to stay part of the organization because she brings significant value to Metro Fire. So I personally am excited about that. And so thanks for saying, Barbie. And with that, to the chief's comments, I've never been a fire chief, and I don't ever plan to be a fire chief, but I never thought that it was an easy job. And I can only imagine the challenges that the last 2 years presented for any chief officer. The challenges of COVID were unprecedented, and to lead an organization of our size through that had to be extremely challenging, and nobody that's been the chief of Metro has had to face that challenge. So now that we're coming out of that, we are fully committed to working with you to maintain strong labor management relationships and put this place in a positive and fantastic position to hand off to your predecessor. And so when you wear that patch for your final day, I look forward to shaking your hand and thanking you for your service. So with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Next on the agenda, committee and delegate reports. The executive committee will be meeting on August 11th at 5 p.m. The next committee, Communication Center JPA, Deputy Chief Wagaman.
Good evening, President Sailors, Directors, Chief Harms. You might have noticed this morning when you got here, your seats were warm. It's because the JPA Dispatch Board met in this board's chambers just a few hours before you. With that, during that meeting, there was a few presentation items, one of which was the acknowledgement to retired annuitants at the center. As previously stated, the last couple of years has been a challenge, and we had to commend the folks that put in an entire career and came back as retired annuitants who put in over 1,400 hours at the dispatch center to make sure that services continued throughout the challenges with staffing and COVID. So thank you to them. We also acknowledge today Tim Goodnow was selected as Dispatcher of the Year. Also in the room here tonight, Catherine Shelton. She worked very, very diligently, studied very hard, and earned her EMP challenge coin. So again, a rigorous process. Sounded like a very difficult test that she took. And I have no doubt that she was the best person to have on the phone at the time that that CPR call came in. So thank you very much for your ongoing commitment to education, as well as the services that you provide each and every day to the dispatch center. We also had some action items. I'll go through them relatively quickly. A firewall switch upgrade, a nice radio logger software upgrade, and that's a system that logs all of the radio traffic. Every time somebody keys up a radio, it logs it in the system, as well as it records the information that's on the radio at the time. So it gives the dispatchers and the agencies the ability to go back and retract that information at any time. The final budget was adopted for fiscal year 22-23, as well as some additional software for Live Mum, which is a move up matrix program that will work with our new CAD system, as well as Barb, and that system identifies the pick list order for fire stations based on address location. So it's a very complicated system that picks 100 fire stations for every single location within our system. So something that we don't want to do manually. The last is a medical director contract. So we have a new medical director, part-time status. They will be putting 10 hours in at the comm center, solely focused on emergency medical dispatch, as well as working 15 hours under the same contract, but for Consumnes Fire District. So Consumnes will be offsetting that contract and paying for those 15 hours of services to be solely used at Consumnes Fire. With that said, that concludes my report. Our next board meeting is scheduled for August 9th here in the Metro Board Chambers at 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, the Finance and Audit Committee, Director Orzali.
Finance and Audit Committee has not met. And our next meeting is to be determined. Madam Clerk, do we have a scheduled meeting?
We will have a meeting on August 25th, and the time is yet to be determined.
August 25th. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Orzali. Next committee meeting is the Policy Committee, Director Gould. And Director Gould's telling him what to report out for that. I'll report out for Director Gould. It will be to be determined. We now have board member questions and comments. Director Jones.
I would just echo all the comments that everyone has mentioned tonight, and to thank you one and all for your participation at so many different levels. I have a few quick shout outs. Thank you to Metro Boat Ops. They assisted with the Great American Triathlon, the successor event to EPI's Great Race. And the committee really appreciated the efforts to ensure the best safety involved on the river. So thank you. Thank you, Chief Mitchell, and to the crews that assisted out there. The meeting with Fleet went very well. I was very happy to participate. Lunch was great, but what was even greater was the networking and discussions and just the talking that we all did together. And it was very, very productive. And I did participate in, correction, I was an observer in our negotiations this last week, about 3 hours worth. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Director Wood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to say thank you to Brenda Briggs and everyone out at Fire Camp. I was out there on Tuesday, the first day, and it was great to see all the kids. I normally go out to Fire Camp on Fridays when they're all a well-oiled machine doing their competition. So it's kind of fun to see them trying to work their team, their brand new teams out and work together. One thing I do want to make a mention is all of the counselors that are out there, they're all volunteers. People need to recognize that these men and women are out there taking time away from their families and supporting and helping out these kids. We had 40 kids in camp this year. And if it weren't for those volunteers, the members that are out there volunteering their time, those kids would not have had that opportunity. So I want to thank them all. It was great to see the Pascal family here. Great result. But one thing I want to bring up on that is just thank you to the crew, whoever brought that up through the attention to get through the ranks to get to our attention. It'd be great to see more of these results, more of these stories. They're just wonderful to have here. So thank you to the crew and those along the line who made this happen. So thank you all.
Thank you. Director Orzali.
Just briefly, I want to personally thank Director Kelly for his service. He has always been of great help to me. He's always represented a very logical, sequential thinker, and he's made a huge contribution to the workings of the board and ultimately to Metro Fire. So Matt, I will be forever in your debt. Thank you.
Thank you. Director White.
I also would like to, since I was absent last meeting, acknowledge Director Kelly, that it was absolutely an honor to serve with him. He was very pragmatic. He cared passionately about this district, its members, the community, and I truly will also miss his counsel. So I wish him well in his future endeavors, and I'll always be rooting for him. I would also like to take a moment and congratulate the promotees. Wish those that are moving to other districts well in their new endeavors. And thank the members of this district from the chief on down that deliver service every day, run all those calls that we talk about. That's really, we deliver service through people. Our people are our most valuable assets. And I just, as a member of a community that's served by Metro Fire, I genuinely appreciate the level of professionalism and service that's delivered. And, it's kind of exciting to hear about the possibility of another medic at Station 59. So thank all of you for the job you do.
Thank you. Director Clark.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Pasquale family on their life-saving commendation. I've known one of the family members for a long time. He's an electrician, and I represented him. That's Orlando Pasquale. He was here. Congratulations to them. Also, I want to thank Brenda Briggs and the crew. I had so many to thank that, I couldn't thank all of them. Had a great time on the Friday of the fire camp. It's a great asset to the community. The kids are excited. And it's been a couple of years, of course, since COVID that I got an opportunity to engage with the families, and it's just a great community event. And so much thanks to them and the volunteers. Director Wood mentioned, talked about the personnel and how they give up their time and their dedication, and it's just a great event. It's also the future of Metro Fire. There's, in fact, the captain that ran the event, basically, he was a graduate of the fire camp, and it was very exciting to see that. Also, I want to thank Shea Purcell for his hosting us, Director Sailors and Director Jones at Fleet. It was well. I want to know when the next barbecue is going to be, because this guy, they really did
Don't give out the secret, God.
They did a great job with that, and it was fun, looking at some of the apparatus that we have coming up and the new ones that we purchased, and just having a chat with them is very, very
He's
good.
going to be a certified engineer soon.
It was exciting. It was great. Also, finally, I want to also congratulate Director Kelly on his commendation. What more can we say about Director Kelly right now? It's just so much to. It would take a good while to go through all the things that he's done for this board and this district. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Well, part of the problem with going last is everyone has already said everything I had on my list. So, and they do it so eloquently. So I would just like to give a huge thank you for everyone at Metro Fire, from the chief all the way down, who everyone just keeps coming in and doing their job and doing it so professionally. And my heart just goes out to everyone who keeps just coming into work every day and taking care of our public out there. And having said that, we shall now go into closed session. Thank you. All right. We are back from closed session and we are ready for Council Lovera to report out.
Thank you, President Sailors. The board met in closed session to discuss the workers' compensation claim and compromising release of former employee Kevin Almeida. The board voted unanimously to give settlement authority to its third-party administrator to complete a settlement of that workers' compensation claim. Number two, the board also met in closed session for its conference with labor negotiator for the labor negotiations involving the bargaining units identified in the closed session agenda. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you. I declare this meeting adjourned.
All right.